So let's talk about the anatomy of this microvascular unit. So there's a lot of different ways that it can be described um, and defined. One of them is a morphological description, and that's just when we're saying, oh, if it's this arteriole, the capillary, and the venule. So the small artery, the small vein, and the capillary, that's what microvascular is. So here's the capillary, here's the that should be the little vein, the little artery, and then this is where they meet in the capillary. That's what microvascular is, the little stuff. Or we could say, well, we have to tell you what size it is in order to be little, and that has to be less than 300 micrometers. We could also say, oh, we need a physiologic definition of microcirculation. And so that would be related to vessel response to increased pressure. And so we need that vessel response is actually related to the muscle that is around the little venules and arterioles that change and the lumen or the inside of the arteriole, the venule, and the capillary. That we also would is related to this specifically is the endothelial cells and the pericytes. So now we have the arterioles, the capillary, the venules, endothelial cells, vascular smooth muscle cells, and the pericytes. That is what microcirculation is in this definition. And so I want to go into pericytes a little bit because they're pretty awesome and cool. And so that's a pericyte on the outside of the capillary, or the little blood vessels, and they help to stabilize. They regulate endothelial cell proliferation and prevent the capillary withdrawal. And they are, as they age, they become less functional. There's fewer of them, and their coverage is not as good, so they're not as stabilizing as they age and as the person age. And this will result in the less stability of the microvasculature. Pericytes also are pretty interesting because they have stem cell-like characteristics. And so they can actually change into a macrophage, a smooth muscle cell, a fibroblast, a myofibroblast, an adipocyte, or an osteoblast. So they could be part of bone, part of fat, part of muscle fiber, just part of smooth muscle, or part of the immune system. That's pretty cool, right? So they're able to read the environment and respond to it and adapt in a way like stem cells. We can also talk about microvasculature by function. And so if we talk about function of the microvasculature, what we're really talking about is that which has the job of optimizing nutrition and oxygen and to stabilize pressure so that we can have proper exchange of nutrients and debris between capillaries and the peripheral vasculature. So remember, we also have the nerve that we can never really talk about the vasculature without talking about nerves. They always go together. And so the neurovascular unit is the endothelial cell, the smooth muscle cell, the pericytes, the neurons, the astrocytes, the microglia, and of course, the arterioles and the venules and the capillaries. These are all the things that combine to make the neurovascular unit. And again, the job of this neurovascular unit is to regulate blood flow, regulate nutrient entry into cells, maintain and repair myelin sheath, and clear metabolites.